So, good morning, everybody. We are going to begin this session. I want to welcome you all, my friends. It's good to be here with you. It would be better to be in different conditions, but that's what we have by the moment. But it's a pleasure to have you here. We are going for the session that will be supposedly the last one in our master class. It has been a somehow troubleshooting course because of the COVID pandemic, you know. Anyway, we're going to try to finish it and hope to meet you all in Naples soon in the end of the activity. Hopefully this session can be interesting. It's about revisional surgery. We are going to perform a surgery, a conversion from sleeve to OAGB. After that, we are going to have some two talks and some discussion that I hope it can be also fruitful for all of you. Meanwhile, I suppose everybody knows me. I am Rui Ribeiro. I work in Lisbon in this clinic. This is a small hospital now with 110 active beds. I'm in the field of bariatric and metabolic surgery for 20 years, and really OHB is my mainstream operation since 2010. So we have an experience about more than 2,700 bariatric surgeries, and we are going to discuss with you with a big pleasure the issues about this technique. Telling you about what we do and our team. We have a complete multidisciplinary team with all the participants, nutritionists, psychologists, physiotherapists, endocrinologists, internal medicine, and dedicated anesthesiologists also in the OR, as well as dedicated nurses. So it's about 20 people. And we are performing not a big number of cases because it's a completely private hospital. We operated last year 150 cases, most of them OAGB. Clinica Sant Antonio is a small hospital in the outskirts of Lisbon, in a city which it's called Amadora. Some of you have been here already, so they know you know what I am talking. We have now 10 ORs. We increased a little bit because of the increasing demanding. We have ICU, a new recovery room for 10 patients. We have an emergency department open 24 hours a day, which is a very important factor because our patients have also the chance to come up to here when they are not good or they are not comfortable, at least with their clinical condition. What we have also good here is an important maternity with an important volume of deliveries and also a nice modern techniques for that. And also an oncologic center with all the valencies and including a radiotherapy department that is providing service to the in outsourcing for other hospitals. And it is the center for the radiotherapy in the Lusíadas group, which is part of the UGH, which I'll tell you about that later on. Our center is called Centro Multidisciplinar de Doença Metabólica. It means multidisciplinary center for metabolic disease. It means that we are not only focused about obesity, but we are also focused about metabolic diseases, mainly diabetes, as you know. Lusíadas Group is based in an hospital that was founded 12 years ago in Lisbon. That was a new and bigger hospital near us. That is in Lisbon, near the Benfica Stadium, by the way. And at that time, it was property of a Portuguese bank that was later on sold to a Brazilian company, the bigger health company in Brazil, which is a big country, as you know, and its name was Amil, was and is. It's a big net of hospital and an insurance company and providing healthcare all over the Latin America. And that company later on was bought by UGH, United Health Group, UHG, that's it, sorry. That is an American company, and the second one about the volume of marketing they are providing all over the world. They are present in America, of course, in all the American Latin through Amil. They have another sub-company that's name is Optum and is operating in Europe and also in India, for instance. And of course, they are also in Europe, in Portugal and Germany, I suppose. What else? The values of this group, it's an American company. It has a very, very strong compliance set of rules we need to follow and the setup of operation. And the values are integrity, compassion, relationships, innovation, and performance. So this is what we are. This is our presentation. And again, I want to welcome you. It's very, very kind to be here with you. I hope you can participate. Please don't be shy and let's have a completely open talk about our topic today. I would like to thank also to Johnson and Johnson by the very kind support of this activity, and of course also to Livia and MCM company because of the technical support, which has been also great. So after that, I would go for the case presentation for today. Okay, so let me tell you something about the patient that is now in our OR. It's a conversion from a sleeve to OAGB. This is a patient that in 2018, a woman, 69 years old at that time, and she was 82 kilos, 150 meters, and a BMI of 36.4. She has old running diabetes, type 2 diabetes, not so strong under oral hypoglycemians. She had an hypercholesterolemia, osteoarthritis, and a slight reflux, a GERD. She was taking medicine like simvastatin, sitagliptin, plus metformin, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs, and bromazepam. And she was characterized as a volume eater at that time. Because of those characteristics and mostly because of the not so important BMI, she was indicated and submitted to a sleeve, which was uneventful. The weight loss was good, 76.6 kilos after 1 month, 69.8 after 3 months, and 1 year after she was 59.2. The diabetes was okay at that time without medicines, so it was successful with the H1C 6.3% and no medication. The cholesterol went down also, but she was with some reflux yet at that time. We performed an endoscopy that showed the gastritis with foveal hyperplasia in the pathology, and the body swollen showed some gastroesophageal reflex in the provocative test, but without any kind of hernia, hiatal hernia. In February 2021, she came up to us with the complaints of reflux and asking for a revision. She is now 66 kilos with a BMI 29, so weight is not so important. Anyway, she would like to decrease a little bit the weight because she's very, very small. The type 2 diabetes is still good with the H1C 6.1% and with an hypercholesterolemia. She's still with the reflux, the most important complaint, and the lab showed that cholesterol is 228 with LDL 130, good albumin, and a negative PCR. We performed a barium swallow now this year, and you can see here the image with very acceptable sleeve shape, but with some dilation of the GA junction. Here again, here we can see some hernia, it seems so, and I suppose this is the video. You can see here the dynamic image with the dilated cardia and some transitional hernia at least. we performed also an endoscopy that showed nothing more than one gastritis in the antrum that we could see here with some pyloric fundic mucosa, not so important. And because of that, we proposed a revision. She has also a polyp with 12 millimeters in the gallbladder, and we are going to perform the cholecystectomy, diatal hernia repair, and the conversion to OHGP, MGP. This is the case. Now, I would like that we have presented ourselves and we have presented our case. I would like to know your opinion and ask you to present each one of you, telling us where you do work, what you are doing more, your main SIM operation, and what about your experience with revisional OHGB. Okay? Can I begin with Massimiliano de Palma?
Hi, Rui. You hear
Hi,
me?
Massimiliano. Yes, I can.
I'm
Good.
really
Good to
enjoyed
have
to
you.
be here. Thank you. Thank you for the meeting. I really enjoyed your presentation, and I think I would like to say to you that I usually do this kind of revisional procedure. I would like to look how do you do it, but I'm sure that you will make us very easy what we have to do in this case. I think is after our meeting, I start doing more and more OIGB. And so I think it's very useful that what we have said in our meeting before, and I would like to meet you again to understand any tricks and tricks to do it again.
Let's try to do that. Thank you. So, Dr. Dimitris Lapatsanis, I don't know if I am spelling together correctly.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning from me too. I really enjoyed your presentation. Since if I understood well, the main problem of your patient is the GERD problem.
Yeah.
Why didn't you consider of performing a typical Roux-en-Y gastric bypass?
Sure. But can I ask, where do you work? In Greece,
in Athens.
I suppose?
In Athens.
In Athens, okay. So that was the question
I am fond of OHGB. I perform some, but you know, since it's still some conversation going on about the reflux after OHGB, and as you said, the main problem of your patient is the reflux. Why didn't you consider a typical Roux-en-Y? Thank you.
Good question. Good question, and I was waiting for it. Look, indeed, in some algorithms, Roux-en-Y gastric bypass is the more appropriate solution for this kind of situation because weight is not so important. The weight loss is not so important. You are right. In our practice, and being completely transparent and honest, in those kind of situations, we perform more what we call before the diverted OHGB. I don't know if you have heard about that, or the long pouch gastric bypass, a technique that we began in 2013 and has outstanding outcomes in this kind of situation. So that would be our first indication. Why did I propose the OHGB? Because we are in a course.
Okay.
And I had to find a case for this demonstration, and it was the possible case at this time because we have from time to time, not a lot of cases of failed sleeves a year. So anyway, if you agree and if we are going to make an agreement, in the end we can demonstrate the OHGB conversion. That in some opinions it would be enough because it reduces the pouch pressure and the differential of pressure between esophagus and the gastric pouch. So in many opinions it can solve the reflux issue, but indeed I prefer to be more to make the patient in a narrow safety range and to give him the power of OHGB with the diversion, treating the both situations. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Let's enjoy then the conversion.
Okay, so let's ask other colleagues, our friends. Francesco Greco, are you there?
Ciao Rui, sorry for the delay. How are you?
Fine, as you can see.
Okay. Have you already finished the surgery? Not yet.
Not yet, not so fast.
Okay.
It's too early. It's 8 in the morning, so 8:30 now. So tell me, what do you think about? Can you present yourself to the other ones that cannot maybe know you?
Thank you, Rui. I'm Francesco Grego. I am bariatric surgeon from Italy. I work in Brescia. I was born in Rome. And I am a good friend of Rui Ribeiro. I have had the honor to visit and to operate in his clinic, his wonderful team, with his wonderful team. And what about today? I have studied the case, Rui. It is very, very interesting. I have a question for you, first of all.
Sure.
Why you are not for a diverted NGB in these cases?
I said it before because look, the goal of this course is to show an OAGB conversion. Okay, I told you that my first option would be, and is usually the diverted OAGB. And in this case, if you can agree after the OAGB conversion, our task is completed, and we can go for that step, for a further step, if you agree about that. I suppose it's more safe. Although OAGB is not bad and it could solve the problem with the hernia, hiatal hernia treatment and the decrease of the pouch. In the end, it could also work, but it will be more probably, because we know, we are going to discuss that later on, about the literature that is available, that the rate of reflux after this kind of conversions it exists, so it's not negligible, and we can avoid that with a supplementary step. So let's discuss that. Well, Fuzia Mencheri, how are you? You have been with us. Ciao. Are you okay? Can you present yourself to the other people?
Hello, I am Fuzia Mencheri from Italy, and it's a pleasure to see you and to hear you.
Same.
And I hope to see you next soon.
In Naples. In Naples.
Present. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Good.
See you.
Okay. Any comment about the clinical case? What would you do in this situation? What would be your preference? Would you go for an OAGB in this patient, or for a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass or a diverted OAGB?
I'm sorry, but I just collect, and I don't.
Okay. Okay, you didn't see the presentation. Okay, yes. We'll come back to that later. Marco Fatiga, good to have you here. Big compliment to you also.
Thank you so much, Rui. I don't know if you can hear me. Sorry, just.
Yes, I'm listening to you. Good to have you here also.
Yes, it's a real pleasure, and good morning, everyone, again. And so I hope you will join this wonderful session, and hope you to meet everyone in person at the beginning of next year in Naples. So thank you again.
Thank you by your support also. And you are one of the founders of this masterclass, so congratulations to you also.
Thank you so much.
Oh, let's go to the next one, Dr. Luca Cessa. Are you there? It seems it's not. Dr. Arturo Merula, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Can you open your camera, please?
What?
If you can open your camera in order to see each other. Sorry. We have here Dr. Arturo. Okay, good to see you.
Thank you.
That's because some of the participants have been here in another session, but the other half we haven't been here. So I would like to know your image. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind invitation. And just a few words, I live and work in Naples in a public hospital called Fate Bene Fratelli. It's a religious property, but it's in all kind of its services a public hospital.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just here to waiting to see the procedure and to appreciate some technical details by your procedure. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you. Meanwhile, my assistants are beginning the operation. They are going to the gallbladder, to the cholecystectomy, but I suppose that's not so important. We can talk a little bit more. So, Dr. Silvana, good to have you here also. Hi, can you present yourself? You are not listening. I'm not listening to you.
Silvana, you have to open your microphone.
That's it.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's okay now. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Silvana Leanza, and I'm working in Iesi, Ancona, in Italy. Yes, and I have seen the case of today, and it's okay for me. It's the first choice to
Good.
OHB.
OHB would be your first choice, right?
Yes, in or after sleep, yes, it's the first choice.
Do you
Thanks.
have experience with conversion from sleeve to OHB? Did you perform cases usually of conversion from sleeve to OHB? Do you do it usually?
Yes, I have done some cases, just some cases. It's a little center, my son. Yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Pier Paolo Cutolo, you have been here with us, I suppose.
Yes, do you remember just
Sure,
few days before the pandemic spread through the world? I remember when I came back from Lisbon, I heard that the first case in Italy was arriving, so that was a mess. And
I remember you commenting on the devices on the lift wall about COVID already at that time.
Yeah, really. So it's a great pleasure to see you again. We already have discussed about these cases, and in our clinical practice, we perform usually Roux-en-Y gastric bypass when we see that kind of reflux, or maybe we convert from OHB to a diverted Roux-en-Y when in a second moment we see a bile reflux.
Yeah, you can do as a second step, of course, but that's what we're going to discuss. We can do it as a first, as a step in the first operation, keeping the safety for the patient. That is usually and I have, I suppose, 34 cases of conversion from sleeve to diverted OHB, and the outcomes are really good, even for weight loss. If we keep the rules of the OHB with a longer biliopancreatic link, in a revisional case, we need to do so. The weight loss is also good in patients with the weight regain, even an important weight regain, and keeping reflex far away. Okay, thank you so much. The next one will be maybe Dr. Michele Giuseppe. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you for this meeting. I am Giuseppe Iovino from Naples. I work in Cardarelli Hospital. It's the most important hospital of the city, and I work in bariatric surgery from 4 years. And so I'm here for see this case, and thank you for this opportunity.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. What else is here? Who else? Doctor. Oh, I can't understand that Greek name. I'm sorry. You doctor with a white vest and a blue tie. I suppose you are from Greece. Here. No. So, Dr. Georgios Iomamitis. Is that the right way to spell your name? Are you there? No.
They are Greek delegate online.
They are delegate. Okay. Okay, so let me just a moment to check how is the things going into the OR. Just 15 seconds, please. Okay, they are already operating, putting the draw cards, introducing the draw cards, and I would like to make some kinds of consideration and have a short discussion with you with something that can be funny. Let me try to get my presentation. Oh. I need to. Como é que eu descompartilho? O rato desaparece muito. Fechar a tela. Ok. Sim. E agora fechar esta aqui e abrir a outra, que é esta. É, não é? Também dá? Okay. So I would like to just to make some considerations, some comments about this kind of situation we are facing today. And I would like to begin. I presented already myself, and my task today is to promote a discussion between us and to make clear how we can deal with this kind of situations. And I will begin with this image. It's a kind of a joke, and let's see what is it. So, somehow funny. Are you listening to me? Se calhar não tenho.
Yes, Rui.
Okay. So, my question to you would be, is this a failure? And I suppose yes. The people that couldn't get the proper goal that was to have a camel ride, a short one. And thinking about this, why didn't they get the success in this task? We should think things like people didn't know the risk they were running for that trial of getting on a camel. The camel driver didn't thought it could happen. He probably was not experienced enough, and he didn't prepare the ride properly. And he didn't have a rule, because We know that in safety systems, we have rules and we have, for instance, weight capacities limit. So those two people were too heavy for that camel and they didn't know that. They didn't measure the risk. And didn't add even the scale to measure people. And he didn't know very well how to solve the problem. He was completely improvising a solution. And there was no emergency support systems. Imagine that if that man or woman would break the neck, how would be? Where was the emergency transportation for the hospital? It was not there. And finally, they couldn't get the goal, so it was really a failure. In bariatric and metabolic failure surgery, we have also failures, but we define it completely different. We define it when people don't get the desired weight loss and insufficient weight loss, when they regain weight after the operation, and when they don't have success about resolution of associated diseases. So in this case, we consider the procedure is failing. And of course, is more common in restrictive surgery like band or sleeve, or although sleeve is a mainly restrictive surgery with some metabolic effects. And in this kind of situation, OAGB can be a good salvage technique. We know that sleeve is a good technique, very popular nowadays with a lot of advantages. It can be acceptable, in my opinion, as a first step for many operations, and we have an exit door for any kind of failure or complication. But there is an associated failure rate, very high in my opinion. That's why I don't perform so many sleeve gastrectomies. And considering that obesity is not a curable disease, it's a chronic evolutive disease, and we need to have different treatments in different steps of the different stages of the disease, it's okay to do a sleeve as a first step. Anyway, I prefer to go further. We know also, this is an independent study from Paul O'Brien and his team that studied the reoperation rates with different operations in Australia, and looked that sleeve is the one with the greater rate of reoperations because of probably GERD and weight regain. You know, the work of Alfredo Janko showed the high rate of reflux and Barrett's esophagus in after sleeve. And this is a really new study from this year from Ralph Petterly in Switzerland that found de novo reflux in 32 cases of sleeve after sleeve, and he had to reoperate 1/5 of his group that were, I suppose, almost 100 cases. And another recent work from the Fadenreich and the Vera Prager group that has promoted and showed that before, at 10 years, also an increased rate of Barrett's esophagus after sleeve is coming with 15 years of follow-up in 53 patients, and half of them were converted to Roux-en-Y because of weight regain or reflux. So Roux-en-Y is, in his opinion, the best option. Of course, that the treatment of failure is not only surgical. We can combine both approaches, medical and surgical, but we should try, first of all, the medical treatment. Let's see. And mainly because there is not a direct correlation between the symptoms and the anatomic abnormalities in the esophagus, because we have cases with a very important reflux without any kind of esophagitis, and the opposite also. We need to study the patients, first of all. Other issue is, what are the cases that can fail more with the sleeve? We know that the non-compliant patients, sweet eating, grazing eaters, the patients that are not compliant with any kind of rules, and our psychologist is telling us that he's not compliant, so should we perform a sleeve? Maybe not. We know that also in super obese people, it's not very effective. It's insufficient for most of the patients. We know also that there is a correlation, and it is more a technical detail, between the size of the bougie, the caliber of the bougie, and we know that the bougies with bigger than 40 French will induce a smaller weight loss in the future. And of course, technical mistakes can happen because of difficulties or insufficiencies, like the camel driver, and we can leave retained fundus, dilated antrum, total gastric dilation. We can see some images later on, but that's not a this is something human. There is a learning curve, and surgeons in the beginning of their experiences, they are more prone to commit some kinds of technical insufficiencies. Another issue we need to understand also is the importance of the dropout, because for sure, many cases will fail because they are not being followed up. And this can be his fault of the patient because he's not coming, he doesn't want to come, he doesn't want to take pills or vitamins, he doesn't want to spend money in more appointments and coming more time to the hospital or to the office, but can also be a fault of the team, because we know that some teams are not providing the adequate level of care for the patients. And we know that patients that are being followed up with the multidisciplinary team have better outcomes than the ones that are not doing so. Going forward very quickly for some studies, Rodolf Weiner studied a group of 106 patients that have initially a gastrectomy, and they were converted because of insufficient weight loss or GERD. And he found 50% of the patients had some problems, anatomic problems in the study. Of course, some patients can be perfectly operated and they will develop those anatomic, for instance, dilations of the fundus or of the antrum. Those are examples of situations that can promote the weight regain easily, or even the reflex. Those are, sorry about the formattation, it is not good because it comes from Macintosh to from Keynote, from PowerPoint. Those are all cases of our experience, of our patients, and we have found different kinds of complications like the dilation, the global dilation of the sleeve, the dilated antrum with the weight regain, or retained fundus with the weight regain and the reflex. And in our experience, the two situations, in most of the patients, they were associated. The patient was regaining weight and having reflex at the same time. The stenosis is an important cause of reflux because of the high pressure above the stenosis, and the hiatal hernia, as we can see in the image in the right of the screen. We should perform some kind of imagology studies, like the camel driver should evaluate better the patient, the client he had. We need to make a barium swallow. It's a cheap and easy examination. And the CT with 3D reconstruction is probably the best option if you can do that, because we can see the shape of the stomach, and in this case, we can see the torsion of the staple line, indicating that there is a torsion of the stomach. Of course, endoscopy is also mandatory in this kind of patient to evaluate the GA junction, any kind of important gastritis, the hiatal hernias, the Barrett's, and whatever we can find that will be important to our decision in the operation. And how should we manage the failure? Of course, doing the evaluation of the patient with the history and physical examination, and the IGI study and endoscopy. Behavioral intervention, it's important. We can save some people from operation with a behavioral intervention before with the multidisciplinary team, and we can benefit patients with that approach. And finally, what can we do for those patients? There are different solutions in the market, I would say. Some people are defending yet or still re-sleeve. People that are performing a lot of sleeve, they defend it yet. Some people are performing the sleeve with a band. The plication of the sleeve is also performed by some people in order to reduce the dilations. The Roux-en-Y gastric bypass is a good solution, mainly when there is reflux, of course, and the duodenal switch and the SADS are probably the best techniques for to solve a weight regain. But we know that because of the high rate of complications in the long run evaluation, nutritional complications mainly, it's not so popular, and also because it's technically more demanding than other techniques. And they can be performed in 1 or 2% of the cases, maybe. OHB is a good option because it's more simple and somehow malabsorptive, but not so much, and the outcomes are good. And finally, I would consider also the SAZI or the bipartition, transit bipartition, that are good techniques that can help also in this kind of situation. About how should we choose the kind of technique, of course, evaluating the volumetry is important. The group of Michel Gagne, they consider it very important, and it's an important criteria to choose the technique. Jack Impens is more prone to give importance to the presence of reflux or weight regain, and for reflux is going to gastric bypass, and for weight the opposite. For reflux is going to gastric bypass, and for weight regain for malabsorptive, including OHB. This is the same criteria. It's also important the kind of nutritional profile of the patient, the eating pattern, hyperphagic people that eat large meals, they repeat the injection, and so they will do better with the restrictive surgery, and the polyphagic, that people that are always taking small meals, they will work better with disabsorptive surgeries. I would finish here. Perfect, because they are calling me to the operation. So I will leave you for a while, and I'll come back since the operation. Okay? Is it okay?
Thank you, Rui.
Thank you. So see you.
Excellent presentation.
This is just one entertainment before the operation. Okay, thank you.